Jeff in Palos Hills, Illinois. Hey, Jeff.
All right, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'd have to tell you what I've learned during this whole thing, and I am just so tired of watching it. Is I'm glad that I call myself an independent, because I feel like I'm watching my two kids or a tennis match. You know, one party blames the other, and the other party blames the other, depending on who you're talking to.
Well, hang on just a minute here, Jeff. The amount for the continuing resolution, in other words, the budget that would keep the government going for another couple of months, and now they've got down to 6 weeks, right? The amount that the Senate Democrats agreed to was the amount stipulated by the House Republicans. The House Republicans said, we want the budget to be this number of dollars, this number of hundreds of billions of dollars. This is the amount that we want. And it includes the sequester, which the Democrats don't want. So when Harry Reid sent that clean bill back to the House, it was the number that John Boehner had asked for. And then John Boehner said, no, we are not going to accept our own number. We are going to amend that to say women can't get birth control from Obamacare. The individual man gets delayed for a year. The oil companies get deregulated and they can put more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And the banks on Wall Street are not overseen by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? And how is that the Democrats' fault?
Well, then I hear other things like I said, I understand what you're saying there, and that's why I said I feel like I'm watching a tennis match, because then I hear the other side of the coin saying, well, they passed the bill, and then the president made changes to the bill that we didn't really
That's
want
what he's supposed to do. Let me explain how government works in the United States. This is in the Constitution. It's very simple. Congress passes a law and says, for example, to the executive branch, which implements the laws, says to the executive branch, you create an environment. This is what Richard Nixon did. You create an environmental protection agency. We will authorize it. You create it. You staff it. The goals of it have to be to reduce acid rain, to reduce smokestack pollution. Here's the goals. You figure out how to do it. They pass the money and the goals along to the executive branch, along to the president. The president then creates that agency, and the president staffs it with his people, and the president figures out how to make it work the best that he can. So all of these so-called changes to Obamacare have been things that the law envisioned. The law requires the president to do. If this isn't going to work, for example, the big corporations opting in right away, he postponed that for a year because the big corporations don't have, their computer systems will not talk to each other, and their computer systems will not talk to the insurance companies. Now, that might be, a conspiracy on the part of the big corporations, but whatever it is, the fact of the matter is that had he let that stand, he would have had to start fining these giant corporations, and then they'd be screaming about these huge fines that they're having to pay, and saying, why are we having to pay these fines when we can't make our computers talk to these things? Give us a year to make this work. So the law required the president to make these calibrations and adjustments in the program in order to make the program work. And he's doing what the law requires. When the Republicans say that he's carving out and changing and postponing, and that's what the law asked for. That's how our government works. When the EPA was created by Richard Nixon changed it probably 200 times during his presidency. That's what you do. Well,
I'm just telling you from the point of view of someone who agrees with health care for the mass. I mean, I totally agree with all that. I just see two sides.
There are not two sides, Jeff. I'm telling you, the talking points that the Republicans are putting out are lies. I mean, tell me one that's not. I just explained to you this stuff. You can read it in the Constitution of the United States. You can look at the history of any federal agency. It's like, when Apple rolled out the new operating system for the iPhone. I upgraded my iPhone a week and a half ago. A week later, they send a patch to it. Am I supposed to say, Apple should go out of business because they had to patch their operating system? No, of course not. When you roll something out, you fiddle with it to make it work right.
I'm just saying, so for example, the last offer that the House did that said, hey, let's get together and let's negotiate, let's try to work this out.
That was not an offer. That was not an offer. The Senate sent a budget 6 months ago, March 23rd. The Senate sent a budget to the House. The House had already passed a budget. So now you got two budgets. You're supposed to get together in conference and reconcile them. For 6 months, the Democrats almost weekly have sent a letter to John Boehner saying, let's get together and work on the budget in conference. And John Boehner has refused. It was only last night at 10 minutes to midnight that Boehner said, okay, let's talk. That's nonsense.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
That was not an honest attempt to get together and work. What that was John Boehner trying to figure out a way to blame it on the Senate. And it sounds like they got through to you, Jeff.